Hi, class. Today's October 6th, so you're either finishing last week's assignment or you're starting the assignment for the following week. A couple things I want to mention again. If at any point in time you feel that you want to retake a quiz and you would email me, explain a little bit why or what may have happened, and I can accommodate that. Um, the main thing we're looking through this course is gaining information so you know how to address certain basic first aid needs. So what is the first aid need we're going to talk about today is going to be muscle, bone, and joint injuries and head, neck, and spine injuries. We know we're going to learn another acronym, and it's going to be the RICE method, R-I-C-E. You'll see it in the video, what it stands for. You already know sample, which we'll use again as we interview an individual. And you'll also know doctors A, B, C, D, which will come into hand when we learn CPR and the AED. So let's start today, and we'll go first through the procedures and then the mission. I'll minimize myself, and we are going to go to right here.
Muscle, bone, and joint injuries come in all shapes and sizes, and it's important for you to be able to recognize the different types in order to provide proper care. The four main types of muscle, bone, and joint injuries are fractures, which are a complete break, chip, or crack in a bone; dislocations, which is the movement of a bone at a joint away from its normal position; sprains, which involve the stretching or tearing of ligaments at a joint; and finally, strains, which is the stretching and tearing of muscles or tendons. When minor injuries don't require emergency medical attention, use the RICE method to care for injured muscles, bones, and joints. This stands for rest. Do not move or straighten the injured area. Immobilize. Stabilize the injured area in the position it was found. Minimizing movement can prevent further injury. Cold. Fill a plastic bag with ice and water, or wrap ice with a damp cloth and apply ice to the injured area for periods of about 20 minutes. If 20 minutes is too much to tolerate, apply for 10 minutes instead. Elevate. Elevate the injured part only if it does not cause more pain. Elevating the injured part may help reduce swelling.
So you can go through that, look at the four main types of muscle, bone, and joint injuries. Remember, RICE. If you look at the bottom, when minor injuries don't require emergency medical attention, use the RICE method: rest, immobilize, cold, and elevate. Let me take myself out here. I'm going to go here. Okay, we're going to go through the mission. Let me move myself out of that picture. We're going to start the mission.
Anthony slipped and injured his wrist. The injury does not look severe, so you won't need to call 911, but you can still help by giving care.
Okay, we always, as you know, do check, call, care. So let's check the scene. Everything over here?
Everything looks okay over here. No apparent hazards. Notice anything here?
Okay, what's on the floor?
Nice work. You've identified the spilled milk as a potential hazard. Good. You've checked the scene and identified all potential hazards. The scene is safe. While checking, you didn't notice any severe, life-threatening bleeding.
I can help. I'll go get Mrs. Cole.
Okay, good. We're going to go now to, and first thing we want to do is obtain consent, and we're going to tell them a little bit about who we are.
What should you say to obtain consent?
And this is what you would say, again, over and over again, explaining, you had experience at Thaddeus Stevens College with basic first aid.
Yes, please help. Thanks.
Okay, so we came sent. Now, let's find out what's going on here. So we know what sample is, correct? Let's start.
My wrist. It hurts pretty bad, but I'll be fine.
Okay, so we know that was the S. Now we're going to look at the A.
No, I don't have any allergies.
The M, any medication?
No, I don't take anything.
Okay, prior medical conditions?
I don't have any medical conditions.
And the L, last food or drink.
I just had a ham sandwich.
And the event, what led up to the injury.
I slipped in some milk and guess I landed wrong.
Good work. You've gathered enough information. A quick head-to-toe check shows no other injuries or conditions. Now, you should give care for his wrist. The wrist appears swollen, but the skin is not broken.
Okay, so the skin isn't broken. It doesn't mean it means it's not a possible compound complex fracture where the bone could be sticking out. I've been involved with quite a few of those in my career and how to handle those. And obviously, you want to immobilize. You basically want to transport the person, treat for shock if that's the case, but definitely get medical attention immediately. In this case, we can use the Rice method.
How should you use the Rice method to care for Anthony's sprained wrist?
Okay, rest, immobilize, cold, elevate.
Nice job. Now you should monitor Anthony for any changes in his condition.
Okay, so you do look, it's elevated, he's holding it, it's immobilized, you have the ice on, it's secured, and it has it a little bit above his heart, therefore the circulation will slow down. Now we're going to monitor Anthony.
Hey, thanks. That's definitely helping, and it's starting to feel better already.
Nice job. You used the Rice method on Anthony's wrist. First, you rested the area. Then, you immobilized it by wrapping the area with an elastic bandage. Finally, you applied ice to the injury while elevating it. Remember, when wrapping a wound, it's very important to check the fingers before and after for feeling, warmth, and color. This way, you can be sure there's still circulation below the wounded area. Now, you should suggest Anthony see a healthcare professional.
Okay, so a little bit about that again. Cyanosis, if there's a bluish in the fingernails, your circulation's stopping. If it's starting to get extremely cold, the circulation will be stopping. Now, there will be some temperature change because of the ice, but you want to make sure he does have feeling in that area. Okay, so now we're going to return home, and we're going to look at our next mission, and we're going to go to head, neck, and spine injuries. These can be very serious, and we'll take you through.
While head, neck, and spinal injuries make up only a fraction of all injuries, they can cause some serious problems, like speech or memory problems or paralysis. In some cases, they can even be life-threatening. In order to care for someone with this type of injury, you have to first be able to recognize the signs and symptoms. A head, neck, or spinal injury should be assumed in a number of situations, including those in which the person is unresponsive, was involved in a motor vehicle crash, fell from greater than a standing height, is wearing a helmet that is broken, complains of head, neck, or back pain, is not fully alert, or was injured while diving into a pool or other shallow body of water. It's important that you talk to and comfort the person, but do not touch them. When asking the person questions, encourage verbal answers instead of head nodding or shaking in order to prevent further injury. A concussion is a traumatic brain injury that involves a temporary loss of brain function resulting from a blow to the head. Signs and symptoms of concussion are confusion, repeated questioning about what happened, temporary memory loss, nausea and vomiting, speech problems, blurred vision or light sensitivity, and headaches. If you suspect a person suffered a concussion, call 911 or ensure the person is evaluated by a healthcare professional.
Okay, so take some time. Let's go back and pause. I'll get myself larger here. Okay, a couple things again. Concussions can happen quite often, and unfortunately, sometimes they're not handled in a correct fashion. The one thing about a concussion is, again, we talk about not touching the person because you don't know if there's any other part of the body that may be injured. But you kind of look at the scenario, car accident, diving into shallow water, playing a sport, making contact head to head. That could also be, and just falling from a certain height. But one thing about a concussion, they talked about with the nauseousness, if you were at home and your little brother fell and, you think, oh man, did he have a concussion? What could you do? Well, number one is, if he does show signs, he or she, if it's a situation, they get nauseous, they may throw up. So that's a symptom. The other thing is, you could ask simple questions. What'd you have for lunch, or what'd you have for breakfast? What day is it? Because those type of things, that short memory, the memory loss, tends to vary, and at times they may not recall what day or what they had for lunch. You have to think about a concussion as your brain is inside your skull, obviously, and when that brain moves and it hits the skull, and that causes that shock and to that part of the brain. So you do want to get immediate care if you suspect concussion. The neck, spine, if you feel that the person says they can't move their legs, can't move their arms, obviously you are going to talk to the person, try to keep them as calm as possible, and you call 911, get emergency assistant immediately. You do not want to transport, you do not want to move the person. Again, when you check call care and you think about the scene, you have to think about how dangerous it is. If you might need somebody to stop the traffic. If it's a car accident, you might need somebody. If the person obviously is in dire need of, if they're in the water, and you need to get them out, because obviously then you would have to mobilize the person somehow to get them out, and therefore you could use somebody else for assistance. You have to look at what is the most serious situation first. In most cases, though, the person, if you just immobilize them, they don't move, and get EMTs or get emergency care as fast as possible. So this video is running now about 12 minutes. You're going to have this short quiz afterward. So I would obviously remember Rice. There's going to be a couple questions, and we'll look again at a little bit more in depth on some of those injuries when we look about immobilizing a person, what happens with the stretcher, what happens with the emergency care, how that's addressed. Wish everybody well. Hopefully school's going fine, and midterms coming up again, October 22nd, I think our grades have to be in. So if you are struggling to that point, please notify me again, Grove K at stevenscollege.edu. I wish you the best, and take care.